Today is a historic day in India's economics. It was on this very day, 25 years earlier, that the rupee was devalued against the dollar, which in turn signaled the beginning of our economic reforms. The government was close to defaulting and its foreign exchange reserves had dried up to the point that India could barely finance 3 weeks' worth of imports. From 19.64 to the dollar in March 1991, the rupee shot up to 31.23 a year later. This translated to a drop of a whopping 59%. The consequence was that the next 3 years saw the trade deficit shrivel to barely 1/6 of its size, and the non-oil trade balance had moved from a deficit to a massive surplus. The then Finance Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, was hailed as the savior, and every economist under the sun hails 1991 as the year which saw India's economy get a second gust of wind beneath its wings. Here are three prominent witnesses of that period: C. Rangarajan, Bimal, Jalan and Jairam Ramesh, on their recollections of the time.
Mr. Narasimha Rao was just not prepared to consider devaluation. But I think Dr. Manmohan Singh and Dr. Rangarajan, who was the Deputy Governor of the Reserve Bank, convinced Mr. Narasimha Rao that there is no option to devaluation. And I had a 1 hour discussion with, I was then officer on special duty to Mr. Narasimha Rao. He called me to Hyderabad house, and after an iftar dinner, he asked me, take me through the benefits of one-step devaluation versus two-step devaluation. So I explained to him, took a piece of paper, and said, what happens when you do a one-step devaluation? Why do you need a two-step devaluation? Because you need to test the market. The first step tests the market, it tests the political reaction, and then you do a two-step devaluation. He says, Manmohan is putting pressure on me to have a two-step devaluation. I said, sir, he is the best judge. I remember my telling him that he is the best judge, and I think you should follow his advice.
The situation, in fact, was so difficult, and if I may use the word, so desperate, that even those people who were not normally inclined towards devaluation really did not raise the objection in a big way. In a somewhat different situation, it could have happened that the opposition, particularly from a political or a sovereignty angle, would have raised it. But here was a situation in which the condition was such that the action had to be taken. There are some reports which say that Mr. Narasimha Rao, after the first step, had some reservations. But as far as I was concerned, who was at the executing end, I got no signal. And I did according to the plan. I went ahead and did it on July 3rd.
It was supposed to be politically uncomfortable to depreciate. The word depreciation itself means that you are doing something which is demeaning, So there were all those kind of issues, and I am very glad that the government took action which was required under those circumstances, and they took quick, as you said, the action was taken with consensus within the government, but the leadership at that particular point of time was extremely, strong. They took action which was in the country's interest, despite a lot of criticism which came up in the papers and in the media and everywhere else.